Blockchance Online Live is an online live-streamed broadcast talk show about blockchain, AI, and green technology. We bring inspiring speakers and innovative thought leaders together to talk about current and future developments within these exciting new fields. Join us to learn how we can use these disruptive technologies to better aid humanity and strive for a fair, secure, humane, and positive future. Get involved in our community and share your opinions and ideas. Together, we can make a difference.
Greetings to all you good people out there and welcome to Blockchance Online Live. My name is Sönke Misfeld, I'm your host. And today we have a topic which I'm very familiar with because it's a financial topic, and we have the best-selling author Marc Friedrich here, who's a financial all-rounder. And so naturally from this point we will talk about the big picture in the financial field. We will talk about the monetary system. We will see what role Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies play in this. And we will see if Mark sees an inflation coming from now on, or if it's going to be a total crash for the economy. So before we get started, I want you to remind you that Blockchance Online Live is a collaborative open platform, and we want you to be a part of it. So make sure to subscribe to our Telegram channel and our newsletter. And you can also participate directly by typing your questions in the live chat. I hope I will find the time to ask them during the show. And of course, you can use Telegram for that as well. And we will have in the halftime a ticket giveaway for the Blockchance Europe 2021 conference. That's going to be worth €300. So stay tuned for that as well. So our today's topic is the greatest reset. Why are the centralized fiat money system and the over-indebted economy in the state they are? And will this lead us into a new crash or into growing inflation? And of course, Mark will explain us why his new book is called The Biggest Chance of All Times. And we will look at the role of Bitcoin in all this just in a minute. Before we get started, I would like to introduce to you our speaker, and today my only interview guest, Marc Friedrich. So as I already mentioned, he's the best-selling author. He's the founder of Friedrich & Partner, which is an asset management firm. And he's the founder of the first German physical-backed real asset funds. So, Mark, this is your time to say hello to the audience.
Hi, everybody. Nice here on the show to be here on the show. Hi, Sönke. It's great being part of this whole thing.
Thank you for being here, Mark. Thank you for your time. I know that you are quite busy. We've just in advance had a talk about how spare time is, and that time really gets the most valuable asset in this life, I would say.
It is.
Mark, at first, a little warm-up question, because I have to tell you that I'm personally very excited about having you here, because your books have accompanied me throughout my career in the precious metal field, which I've done before I was going into blockchain. And when I was engaged in precious metals, it was actually a big help, because a lot of people came with your book. I think at that time it was Der Crash ist die Lösung, the crash is the solution. And they decided to buy gold and silver after that. So you definitely convinced a few people back then. And now, as I'm into this blockchain sphere, you hear people coming from after reading your newest books and wanting to get involved into crypto and Bitcoin. So I can tell from personal experience that your books do have an influence on many people. And this is my first question. Would you say that this is the main goal of your work currently, to help people make informed investment decisions?
Definitely. But first of all, I'm flattered. It's great to hear that I have an impact on the people, on their decisions, that they choose sound money or better investments. Yes, of course, this is my intention, actually, to educate the people. That's why my YouTube channel is called Financial Intelligence, because we don't learn it in school. everybody, all of us, we have to do with money every day. We work for money, we have money on our account, but we don't know how money gets created, how it comes into the world, and how to invest it for us so that we have something when we retire. Not only the banks and the insurance companies make money out of it. So that's my intention, and my goal is to educate as much people as possible, as many people as possible, that they know how money works, how our financial system works, and how they can save their money if there's a crisis coming, how to protect themselves against inflation, against taxation, against socialism or planned economies and central banks, of course. So yes, this is my goal, and if I reach one person, it was worth it, definitely.
Yes, and I can definitely tell from my own experience in that field that there is a big gap in the knowledge of people about finances because the real critical information, why we get these debt bubbles, what inflation is, that is really not in depth taught in, even if you study economics.
Sure.
When I learned about the monetary system, I learned how it works, but I did not get any critical information about that during my exam. So I really think this is an important thing to do, to educate people about the dangers and the do's and don'ts in that field. So let me come to the first real question. In your new book, Die größte Chance aller Zeiten, The Biggest Chance of All Times, you present a few important theories about how our social, economic, and financial systems run in repeating cycles, and that we are heading towards some very critical end phases of these cycles. So which are the most important ones, and what can we expect from that?
Yeah. There are different cycles, and the whole universe, universe works in cycles. Actually, nature works in cycles. We have summer and winter. We have day and night. We have old and young. So everything is in cycles. And if you understand the cycles, then you actually can predict the future. And if you look back in the past, in the history, you see all the cycles always happen. So we have, for example, we have a monetary cycle, we have a political cycle, but we also have a generational cycle, the fourth turning I mentioned in my book, as well as a debt cycle. And right now we are at the end of our monetary and debt cycle. So both come to an end right now. And this is it's historic, actually, because we are at the end of different cycles who come to an end right now. This is a paradigm shift, and I think we all feel it. It began 2008 with the financial crisis. We saw that the banks are not trustworthy, that they are sometimes criminal, and that they just care about themselves and about the people. And we saw they created a big crisis, and instead, the politicians protected us, the citizens. No, they bailed out the banks and we had to pay for them. We, with our taxes, had to pay for the banks who created the whole mess. And furthermore, the central banks helped them as well. They bailed them out as well. They just printed much more money, created another bubble, and helped them out as well. So we paid, actually, all of the citizens all over the world paid for the big mistake for this crisis. And so we lost confidence and trust in the banking system, in the financial system. We lost trust in the monetary system, in the euro, in the dollar, and we lost trust, of course, in the politics as well as in the central banks. And that's why we saw, for example, extreme left or right-wing parties who got more and more in power in Greece. We saw populists all over the world gaining traction. Actually, people liked them, people voted for them. And we saw that the society got more and more divided in all matters, actually. So since then, we see that people are pro or contra. They fight each other. There is no possibility to find an agreement. So right now, with the end cycle, we are the end cycle of the debt system, of the debt cycle. We see the central banks print more money than ever. It's insane. If you just check last year, the American central bank, the Fed, printed like 26% M1. So it's never happened before. It's just insane, and it never worked. You know, if you look back in the past, for example, printing money never was a solution. You never solved a crisis. You just bought yourself time. And what we see, it's an insolvency, actually. They just buy time and we have to pay for them. So right now, with the end of the debt cycle, we will see much more printing. We will see much more debts. It will create another bubble and more bubbles. But in the end, it will collapse, like in the Weimar Republic, like in Zimbabwe, like in Argentina. So you never can solve a crisis with printing money. And if you see every 80 to 90 years, one of these crises happen. And then you see a totally shift in the monetary system. And normally, a monetary system, a fiat standard like we have, or monetary system at all, lasts for 30, 40 years. The last time it was in the 70s, 71, we saw the end of Bretton Woods. We saw the beginning of the fiat money system. And now it's 50 years. It's overdue, actually. So that's why we will see a new monetary system upon us. But this goes with a lot of chaos, perhaps civil unrest, and with a wealth transfer, which we've never seen before. So that's why people have to prepare mental, but also financial, with their money, with their investments. And this is a once-in-a-life opportunity, actually, to be on the right side of history.
So let's take a look a little bit more at the reason for this kind of debt cycle, because if I understood your book right, it's because we don't use sound money, right? Because these circles don't happen if I think you wrote that in Rome you had a very, very long period of stable monetary function because they used sound money. It was just gold coin, and that gold coin was not misused by the Roman Empire until they did, and then the debt cycle started and went out of control. So maybe you can explain this mechanism once more, because to me, when I was talking to people about finances, I realized that they don't know one of the most critical things, and I think we need to inform people about is the direct relation between unbacked centralized fiat money systems, the over-indebted economy, and the out-of-control spinning everything bubble that we are seeing right now. Yeah. So I would be grateful if you could explain this in your own words to the audience. Why does this happen if you don't back your currency, if you don't limit currency?
Sure, with pleasure. So every great nation, every empire starts with a sound monetary system. Like you mentioned, the Roman Empire, they started with silver and gold coins. And then after time, when corruption went on, when inflation hit the empire, they started mixing other metals into the coins, or clipping the coins. And that's when everything falls apart, actually. The society, the moral, the ethics, everything falls apart. And this is mostly the end of every civilization, of every empire. You can see it in the history many, many, many times. So what is important about the sound money system? It's important because if we have a fiat system, politicians or emperors, they just can create money out of thin air. They can make more and more debts. So it's very, very important to have a sound system for a sound society, for a sound nation, for a sound empire, actually. And that's every time it repeats. Every time. You know, we started in 1944 with the Bretton Woods system. It was a gold-backed monetary system. It lasted only for 27 years, actually. You know, in 1971, Richard Nixon, the US president, just said it like, hey, it's over. I break international law. And from now on, the dollar is not backed with gold anymore. But
actually, may I interrupt? Because sure. That's a point where I always said, like, actually, there was a declaration of bankruptcy.
Yeah,
because they declared they would exchange every dollar they created into gold, and when France and other countries came and said we want the gold, we don't want the dollar because your wars are too expensive, there's too much new money being created. They all of a sudden said, oh, no, we are not going to deliver anymore. And in my eyes, that was not the ending of the gold window. That was a gold bankruptcy, to say it like that.
Exactly, because they saw melting down their gold reserves. Because in the 60s, they had 20,000 tons of gold in the US. And then France came, Mr. Gaulle sent even the Navy and said, hey, we want our gold back, because they just saw that they print more and more US dollars, you know. And they didn't trust them anymore. So the French people didn't trust them. Other nations as well didn't trust them, and they all asked for the money. They said, hey, we don't want the paper money, give us the gold. And so within 6 years or 7 years, the gold reserves of the Fed just melted down to 50%, only 10,000 tons. And of course, the government of the US was alarmed and said, okay, we have to stop this or we're bankrupt. So we have to stop the outflow of gold. And that's why Richard Nixon said in August 71, so it's 50 years ago next month, we have to stop it. There will be no trade anymore. We don't give out any gold anymore. Keep the dollars. We print more. And since then, you just see insanity in every balance sheet of any central bank in the world. And you see debt hitting new record highs every month, every year. And it's just the invitation for politicians to print more money, make more debts, and it's just a crazy game. It's the end game, actually. It's our financial end game, and we're witnessing it right now, and we have to pay for it. So that's the problem, and that's why we need sound money to have sound finances, to have sound politicians, a sound society. Without sound money, everything breaks apart, and you see it outside. Just look out of the window. Everything is, pardon my language, but it's fucked up. And that's why we're in the end game. And the main reason for all bad things happen is our wrong fiat monetary system. It's just wrong. It's not working. It's just like a small part of the people of the society earns money, makes a big profit out of it, but the majority is just losing it. You know, people work harder than ever, but can't afford to buy a house. This is the so-called Cantillon effect, which I mentioned in my book as well. Because as closer you are to the central banks, they print the money. You get the money very cheap. You buy more houses. You get richer. So that's why the rich people and the big monopolies get richer, like Amazon, like Netflix, like Apple. But the majority of the society gets poorer and poorer. And that's the evil thing about the monetary system we have right now, the fiat monetary system. It will collapse. It's just a matter of time. It's not a question if it collapses. It's a question when. And this is hard to predict, actually.
Yeah, I would even say that the very foundation that money is created only as debt. That means that every euro, every dollar that's out there is related to an interest. It may be a very small interest, but it is an interest. And that means interest always has this exponential growth, compound interest. And that is a mathematical impossibility to actually for the real economy to grow in the same pace as the debt and the wealth at the other side of the debt growth. So this interest always demands more. And
more debt, more growth. We need more growth. But the problem is the world economy is not growing strong enough. You know, the debts grow stronger than the economy. And that's the whole problem. So our monetary system has a mathematically end, and it's limited. So we will see the end in our lifetime. So God wants it, yeah. But it's definitely limited by math, by a natural law, and you can't print it away. That's not possible. They tried, they will try it, they will keep on trying it. We will see insane amounts of money they create with the next crisis, but it won't help at all.
Yeah, and you always have this point in the system where because the savings and the debt wants to grow more, where banks actually have to go for more risk. And exactly. This is what actually led to because you have more and more unfounded debt, unsecured debt. And that actually led to the financial crisis. And as a reaction, this comes to my next question. As a reaction to the financial crisis, we saw interest rates being lowered to zero or close to zero, and massive debt buying programs with the name of quantitative easing.
Actually, wait, I forgot to answer one question you had. You asked about the everything bubble. Just came up in my mind. I was just in the flow. Okay, listen, I have to answer this as well. Because they're trapped. The central banks are trapped. They created actually every financial bubble in the last 40 years, actually since Bretton Woods ended in 71. You know, we saw in 2000, we saw the dot-com bubble. You know, technology shares went crazy, went up like never before. And how did this happen? It happened because Alan Greenspan, chairman of the Fed, created an immense debt bubble. He lowered the interest rates, and he just flooded the markets with cheap money. So what was the reaction after the bubble burst, after the bubble popped? The Fed went out and said, hey, okay, let's print more money, and we lower the interest rates even lower than before. And of course, they created the next financial bubble, this time's real estate, subprime crisis, And what happened after the bubble bursted? They did the same. They came out and said, listen, this time it was Bernanke. Okay, we have to create a solution. What is it? We lower the interest rates even more, historic low, 0%, and we have to print more money, more than ever before. And then what happened? Corona, and now we see historic record levels on any parameter. We see more printing, lower interest rates. So they create one bubble after the next one. This time we have the everything bubble. Everything is inflationary, like real estate. Who can afford a house in Atlanta or in Hamburg or in Stuttgart? Nobody. Who can invest in shares? They are on a record level. Actually, normal people can't, because it's just too expensive. We just saw insane asset bubble, never happened before. It's a game. It's an experiment, and it will fail. So that's why we have this everything bubble right now. Money is in an everything bubble because it's cheap like never before. Equities, of course, art, everything, everything. And that's why we see this everything bubble right now. And this will pop. And I don't think there will be another solution. They can't go lower with the rates. They can't print more money. Now it's a game of trust. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Actually, that I was actually thinking that the financial crisis already is the end of that debt bubble, but then they came up with quantitative easing. Interest rates were already at the 0 point. There was nothing to lower more, because as long as you have cash, people can withdraw and do bank runs. So you cannot lower the rates under zero, or at least not a lot.
They will.
Yeah. And now they came up with the quantitative easing programs and started to directly buy up the debt of the market that nobody else would take, and therefore lowered the interest rates and the risk for the whole economy, and that created this everything bubble right now. And now to the question, because the Corona measures of closing down businesses and trade for a pretty long period, that in the first place, it caused a sharp economic downturn. And that was directly followed by massive economic and monetary stimulus again. Yeah. And this time, though, and that's the big difference, because last time it created only an asset price bubble, right? And this time, though, the newly printed money is given out to the people, is given out to the businesses. And so it seems finally to have found its way into the real economy, and the consumer price inflation finally picks up. And that's my question to you. How do you see this playing out? Is inflation manifesting itself right now, or is it a short-lived thing, and the consumer price inflation will go back to zero because we have a lot of deflationary factors going against it, like the technology and stuff?
It's transitory, No, just kidding. You're right. After 2008, after the central banks all over the world printed money like crazy, everybody expected inflation. Everybody, because this is in the books at the university. They say, hey, if you print money, inflation goes up. But it was deflationary, actually. Why? Because this money didn't come to the real economy. It went up to the stock markets. It went into the real estates. It just stayed inside the financial area, So, but this time it's different, because right now we see governments writing checks to the people, like in the US, $1,400 here, $600 there. We see that that the governments create fiscal packages like never before, trillions of dollars actually. So right now we see inflation, and we saw it in the CPI in May. It was 4.5% or something like that, and now in June it was 5.4%. This is incredible. Everybody was shocked when the figures came out yesterday, and the same in Europe. In the Eurozone it was in May 2.5% inflation, and in June 2.3% inflation.
And that's only the official CPI, because
exactly. It's manipulated.
That is a number that does not really show how prices react for people.
You can't trust this numbers, because it's the same with the CP, with the Communist Party in Beijing. So don't trust numbers from the governments. It doesn't matter in the West or in the East. It's always the same. I showed it in my new book, the real inflation last year in Europe. What do you think? How high was it?
Last year, I actually do know from the grandfather's economic report, who calculates inflation like it was in the 1980s.
Okay.
So with the same measurements, you have like 5 to 7% up on top of
last
the
year,
official.
in university, they show you how you really calculate inflation. And last year we had money printing like never before, and we had really, really weak growth in the economies. So last year in the Eurozone, for example, we had 13.73% inflation. Official, they said it's like 0.5%. So you see the difference, and that's why they inflate the purchasing power away from us. That's why you need like real assets, like limited assets, because they print like crazy. They print unlimited money. They make more debts unlimited, and that's why you need something like a life insurance for your purchasing power. And that's of course real assets who are limited. Everything which is limited will go up in price when they print more money, when they inflate the whole system. And we will see the end cycle. We will see a melt up, inflationary melt up, crack up boom, it's called, in the next couple of months. And it will be crazy. Real estate will go up, stocks will go up, equities will go up, everything will go up. And then I expect inflation will stay for now, but I also expect a deflationary bust, and afterwards I see hyperinflation. Perhaps I'm wrong, we will see, but that's how it played out in the past.
It actually is a very likely scenario, but in the short term, you would say this inflation for the consumers also manifest, and in the midterm, there are a few factors, but you see that they will not be able to print away the bubble and the debt, so relieve the interest demands from the debt.
One tip you see, because central banks always said, hey, if we reach 2% inflation, we stop all the programs. We stop buying treasuries. We stop printing money. We raise the interest rates again. So now we have 2%, and journalists, reporters asked Mrs. Lagarde from the ECB, so, okay, you achieved your goal. Are you raising interest rates now? Are you stopping the programs? And she said, no. So they're trapped. They can't. If they stop the programs, if they stop giving money to Italy, if they raise the interest rates, it's over. It's the end game. It's game over then. That's why they can't stop it. They will print more money. So they will print till eternity, till the whole thing breaks down. And that's why I expect a high possibility. It's always a game of possibilities, of course. But I think to 90%, this whole thing will collapse. There will be a big crash. I hope not. Yeah, I'm not a crash prophet like I'm always betitled. But I think there is no other chance, because they will never go out voluntarily and say, okay, let's stop it. The euro was a bad idea. Fiat money is a bad idea. We have to go back to sound money. It will never happen.
Yeah, we will come back to that point directly after our break, because I think it's very interesting. And for every investor in the world, if you're in gold and Bitcoin or whatever, it's a very important question. Will we just see further inflation, or will we have these debt bubble crash, which means that all assets probably will go down in their valuation, right? So this is a very important question I would like to come back to. At first, let me get to our break, and don't miss me coming back after the break, because in the middle of it, I will ask, I will tell you how you get the ticket. We have a new system. I will tell you how you get the ticket. And so at first, let us move over to our short video, and after the break, I will tell you how you get that ticket. See you.
Where are we heading? Who owns your data? Who owns your money? Your future. We are approaching a new dawn. Blockchain technology. Artificial intelligence. Sustainability. Be a part of the evolution. Hamburg, Germany, 2021. Blockchains, 2021.
Debts being created that have no security, no real asset backing it. And from that point, we either have the bubble and the bubble can burst, or, and this is my question to you, a bubble could also be inflated away, right? So if the government just continues and the central banks, if they just continue, oh, we have no sound? Is that...
No, it's back. You're back. I did not hear the first part of your question, but now I
think you will. You will be able to answer it without the first part. It was just an introduction. Again, you're so deep in the topic, you will be able to. The question,
perhaps for the listeners, I don't think. Yeah. Okay.
Do we still have problems? Still no sound?
No, sound is back. The right sound is back. They hear us now again, but I didn't hear you as well. So.
Good. Let me ask a question, and hopefully, Mark, you get it, and the audience as well. Isn't it possible for a government and the central banks, if we have like unsustainable debt levels, to just print their way out of it, devalue the currency until the point where these debts become sustainable again, because the GDP has overgrown the debt, or GDP is back to sustainable levels?
Okay, there are only like four possibilities to save the whole system. The first one is economic growth. You know, we won't see that. We need like 5 or 6% growth, more growth than the debts grow. So that's why I don't think we will grow, because last time China helped us. They helped us printing money, and but this time it's different, definitely different. They always say this time is different, but this time it is different. Yeah, and the second possibility to solve the mess is inflation. That's what they already reached, but they need more inflation actually, and that's why they hide it, because if people see, because inflation is theft, if people realize, oh my god, I lose like 10-15% every year or even every month, I take the money out of the system and I buy some gold, I buy some digital gold, I buy some Bitcoin, and fuck off politicians. Yeah, you created the mess, you pay for it, but we have to pay anyhow because we are the citizens of this country, or of this government. So anyhow, this is the second possibility. The third possibility is, of course, monetary reset, like we saw in Germany in 1948. This I think will happen. Would be the best option for us, because the last option is kind of shitty. It's war. Every time dictators or kings were desperate, they started the war, and that shuffled the cards anew, and then you had a new monetary system afterwards. The winner takes it all. He is the king, and then we have a new monetary system. So these are the four possibilities to solve this problem. So, but we, like I mentioned already, we can't expect that growth will save the day and save us, because then we have to grow like 5 or 6 or 7% a year. I don't see that, not all over the world, and afterwards the world would be totally damaged, cause pollution and everything, so yeah, I think they will print more money. We will see a crack-up boom. They try to create inflation. That means we will lose purchasing power. We get poorer, and that's why we're seeing right now socialist tendencies, that we see a civilian state, Orwellian state perhaps. Corona is a great crisis, and never waste a crisis. We can print more money, and we can say it was the invisible enemy, the virus, and nobody could see it. It's a black swan thing, and we have to print more money, make more debts, and you have to pay for it, and it's the perfect execution actually.
But if we do get a crash like we had in 2008, we also have seen, for example, the gold price going down first before they started to print more and more again after the crash. Is that to expect as well if we see some debt defaulting, if we see some maybe even governments defaulting? That is also a possibility out of this crisis, because government debt went up like crazy. And if we saw a debt crisis like that being allowed, because they don't directly print against it, because I don't know, maybe they need more justification to continue on their path. If we saw something like that, that would mean for gold and Bitcoin that the price could also go down, because people need to monetize their assets to stick up with their normal rise.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I expect. Actually, that's why I mentioned we will see a deflationary bust. And remember, it's always volatile. In my new book, I have a chart of the gold mark against the Reichsmark in the hyperinflation in the Weimar Republic from 1917 till 1923. And you see wild swings. It's like a roller coaster ride, And if you sold your gold with the first dive, when it went down like 60, 70, 80%, you missed everything. You never catch the train again. So it's wild swings, up and down, up and down. It's very volatile. But in the end, the reward was financial independency. You were free. You were the richest guy in the room actually, because with gold you had the ultimate safe haven in your pocket actually. So because gold went up like to I think it was over 4.3 billion Reichsmark. So it was the perfect safe haven protection for your purchasing power. So, but that's why if you have weak hands and you get kicked out of the market, you get kicked out of Bitcoin or gold, you're lost actually. You will perhaps never get back in. And yeah, I think we will see wild times. I think everything in the future, it's out of our imagination. We never had something like this. We never made an experience in this. So we never saw a real crisis in our lifetime. What's up to us actually the crisis which will come, it's incredible. It will be mind-blowing, and nobody can imagine how wild it will be. So just prepare in your wildest dreams, and prepare yourself mentally, but also with your financial investment choices. And I think it will be really, really crazy out there.
So that's a perfect cliffhanger for me.
That's why I said it.
Yeah, because I want to go over to the positive side, and that's also the name of your book already tells us, the biggest chance of all times. It means bumpy roads ahead, probably not very comfortable for most people, but if you do understand what's ahead, if you do understand what happened the last time during the end of these debt cycles and other cycles,
exactly,
you are able to prepare. And could you please tell us about this positive side, and maybe you can, because I know it's going to be in there, go a little bit into what the audience is real interested about, the blockchain side and the Bitcoin side.
Yeah. So first of all, we need a new monetary system, and with this crisis, we have the chance to establish a new monetary system. And I think I guess the only chance we have is Bitcoin. And I think the next monetary system will be Bitcoin, or Bitcoin will be a part of it. And it's the biggest chance we ever had, and it's not only the biggest investment chance in our lifetime, it's the biggest chance for a better world if we have a fair and sound monetary system, which is not in control of governments, of a central bank, of a planned economy. So it's the first time we have a monetary deflationary borderless system like Bitcoin, which is transparent, and which is not you can't manipulate it. It's censor free. It's just perfect in so many ways. That's why Satoshi Nakamoto actually he deserves definitely the Nobel Prize, but he wouldn't accept it. It's a totally different story. Anyhow, I think that in our evolution as human beings, there were always crises, and crises helped us to grow, to get more mature, and look in your own biography, look in your own at your past, look at your life. When did you have the most impact? When did you learn the most? It was when you hit the floor. It happened when you had the first bad experience with friends, or when your girlfriend or boyfriend betrayed you, when you had bad experience with other people, when you didn't pass an exam or something. So people learn with crisis, and when they make mistakes. That's it, and that's a part of the evolution, actually. And we need crisis, we need crash, actually, to get better. And it's like in science, trial and error. It's the whole thing for thousands of years. And now we see, my last book was called The Biggest Crash of All Times. I think this is happening right now. We're in the middle of this perfect storm, and my new book is called The Biggest Chance of All Times, because there are always chances in crisis, and we have just to embrace it. We have to take the chance. We have to start doing something, and that's why you have to look at your portfolio. You have to invest money in limited assets, and I think Bitcoin is the biggest investment opportunity in our lifetime, and it's just perfect created. I think gold is interesting. I think commodities are interesting. Anything except paper money, fiat money, life insurance, T-bills, treasuries, all this shit goes away. And if you just think like 5% this is possible, what this guy is saying, then just protect yourself, buy some limited assets, and protect your purchasing power, protect your future. And I think it will go down in history books, what we will see the next couple of years. And that's why I think it's the biggest chance of all times that we can, for example, get financial independent. I think the people who invest right now wisely will be enormous rich and independent. And I think we have the possibility to create a new system, a new political system, because the old one is just over, and a new monetary system. And if we fix it, Bitcoin fixes this, then we have a golden future in front of us. And we have to use it, because there's enough food on this planet, there's enough wealth on this planet, that everybody has something or can take part of it. And I think we should use this, or it will end very badly for all mankind.
I totally agree that we need to use this chance because you said it's going to be Bitcoin. I guess what you meant is our best chance is Bitcoin because there is also some players in the field, like the central banks, that probably are not really happy with Bitcoin becoming the new
Not at all. They hate
global monetary system. And I think they are reacting to the entering of Bitcoin into this field with their CBDCs. What's your stand on that? How big is the chance for Bitcoin actually to make it against this overpower of central banks, of just giving us the next monetary system that is fiat again?
I think it's actually a pretty good, the chance is pretty good because Bitcoin is on so many levels superior to our fiat system and superior to the central banks. They fight it, of course. They hate it, and we are at war actually, and it's all-out war on all terms. Actually, we see all the FUD. We see how they create their own digital currencies. We see how they spread lies and just lies about Bitcoin and everything. They hate Bitcoin, but they just realized they can't stop it. They can't ban it. So they try to build something else, which is like the digital euro or the digital dollar, and force us to use it. But there will be always something like gold with the monetary system right now. So people will use Bitcoin. This is the law of Gresham. Bad money, plays out good money, and people will just hoard the good money, which will be Bitcoin or gold, and give away the bad money, which will be fiat or the digital euro, the digital yen or pound. So I think Bitcoin is the only chance we have, and I think Bitcoin will win. I think positive. I always have a positive mental attitude. So I think mankind had worse crisis, and we will definitely will get stronger with this crisis, and I hope everything works out fine. It's like in Star Wars, the fight against good against evil, and the good guys will win, of course, and that's we are the good guys.
I really like that idea. And Bitcoin does actually one more thing, because it communicates an idea, right? It's really it's out there that there is better money for us to use. And everybody who understands Bitcoin understands that the fiat money system that central banks are offering is very, very, not optimal. Let's say it like that.
The digital euro is nothing else than fiat online, which we already have. It's like Nick just wrote. It's a shitcoin. It's a fiat shitcoin. On the blockchain. So nothing changes. They want control. They want to implement negative interest rates. They want to hold their privilege to print money out of thin air, to control us, to keep this slavery system alive. That's it. But it's over. They didn't realize that the game is over already. They already lost, and they try to buy some time, but we will win, and Bitcoin is superior in so many ways. So I'm very positive that the future looks bright. But before that, I actually have to say that it will get worse before it gets better. So prepare yourself, buckle up, and buy some Bitcoin and some other limited assets.
Yeah, I totally agree that if they just set it up as another form of fiat currency, we missed a big chance. I actually have the hope that some of these CBDCs will be better than others and will outperform them, because they have better attributes. They have better attributes. So like privacy is built in there, and like we have a ceiling of how much can be created, stuff like that. That will be very interesting, because it is a big chance. CBDCs are also a big chance. They bring completely new business models out to the world. So I'm negative about probably what will come. But there is also a hope that they will set it up better, to me. But you're
But
right.
it's still centralized. That's a great thing about Bitcoin. It's decentralized. There is no central bank. There is no company. There is no politician. But with a CBDC, you always have a central bank or somebody or a party. So this never worked in the past, and they will fuck it up again. So that's why I think protect your purchasing power and buy some through limited assets, like limited with a mathematical code like Bitcoin with SHA 265, or gold or something, which is limited by Earth.
Yeah. So just one last question, and to spin the cycle back to the title of our show, The Greatest Reset, because probably most people have heard about the Great Reset right now, which is promoted by the World Economic Forum. And if you see what they are communicating about it, it sounds pretty good. It is in most parts, it's a good idea. We're looking about an fourth industrial revolution, digitizing things, getting more efficient in society. Using transparency and of course the Green New Deal that we have involved in there. It sounds too good to be true to me, and I would like.
If something sounds too good to be true, it's not true. That's it. And devil and evil always comes with sweeties and some luxury and some chocolate bars and. It sounds like communism for me, like, hey, it's 2030, you own nothing and you will be happy. Hey, who owns everything then? Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and the central banks? Sorry, fuck it. Do your communist stuff alone. I don't want to be part of it, actually. So I think it's really, really dangerous what they want, and I think it won't have. It will not end very well for all of us if we get into this dystopian Orwellian state dream of Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. But sorry, I had to interrupt you.
No, that's completely fine. That's actually the answer I wanted. I hoped you would give, because I feel the same about this. I like the idea of global institutions moving forward and bringing this world into a better place. And I think there's a lot of good people working there. But I have a big problem with the ones. With this top-down approach, not really going for basic democratical processes on the way. And I really don't like the idea of the exact same people that brought us into this mess being the ones who present.
And out of a sudden, they have all the solutions. They never fixed something. They made any mistake, historic mistakes actually, and out of a sudden they have all the solutions. They have a vaccine, they have a perfect plan. Everything is in their hands right now, and everybody believes it. I can't believe it. It's like idiocracy, and this is the end game actually. This is how it plays out, and I never thought it would be that amusing, but it will be a great show. It will be the biggest shit show in the world, and don't trust them. Listen to your stomach, to your guts, and it will be crazy, and we will see much more wild things.
Yeah, so in the end, I think it comes down to what the really basic idea behind crypto is. It is decentralized solutions, people taking back control over their data instead of just giving it away for some free services, people deciding for sound money instead of a new form of fiat money from the central banks. And I think we will see when this current system, as you described so perfectly in your book, when this new system comes, this old system comes to an end, and they try to implement a new one, there is a huge window of opportunity, and this is the biggest chance I see right now. People see the system cracking; they see the logical mistakes in all this, and they see that the same people try to offer solutions and push them top down that already they brought us into this mess in the first place. So I really hope that people take the command back.
Exactly. Corona showed us how fragile our whole system is. We saw how fast everything collapsed, like suppliers and everything. Supermarkets were empty. There was no toilet paper in Germany anymore, and so on. So we saw how fragile the whole just-in-time system is, our whole economy, everything, and it showed how helpless our politicians are and how clueless and how unprepared. And we need a new political system. We need a new monetary system. And this is the foundation actually for a golden future is the monetary system. We need a sound monetary system, independent from the government, independent from central banks, and limited by math. And I think Bitcoin is the perfect solution. It came in the right time, and it's a present of God. I made actually an interview with Max Kaiser and Stacy about this, and it was very spiritual. Actually, you have to watch it on my YouTube channel. It's called Satoshi Nakamoto is Jesus 2.0.
And this is actually the perfect statement to end this, because I agree it is a great idea. And I think it was Victor Hugo who said the biggest power is the one of the right idea at the right time.
Exactly.
It's not the perfectly quoted, but it's like that from the idea.
That's
so thank you very much,
Marc.
thank you very much, Marc, for your insights, your ideas, and this positive outlook that we have, that from this crisis new chances arise. And if we only take the technology and the possibilities that we have right now, take it in our own hands, and let's build up this system newly. And I think most of the crypto sphere is already working in that direction, and there's a lot of good people working in that direction. So this gives me hope as well. And probably if this pressure comes from the bottom, the top-down approach can't really move on without making Zugeständnisse, missing the word here.
It's a revolution. We will see the biggest revolution of all times.
And Bitcoin was the starting point for this in my eyes. So thank you very much, Marc. It's been a pleasure. Have a good rest of the evening. I guess you will, as the most of us, just get something to eat right now. And I wish you all the good luck for your personal and for your professional directions. And yes, this is your point to say goodbye to the audience.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you had fun and took something out of it. And follow me on Twitter at Marc Friedrich 7 and look at my website, friedrich-partner.de. But I think you will share all the information. And I'm coming back again if you want to. And my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Take care. Bye.
Thank you very much, Marc. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, and of course, thank you to the team. Thank you to the audience for sticking with us again for this whole hour. I'm always taking the last minute I can. And it was a great show. It was my comfort zone because we're talking about financial system. And of course, we still, I think, have this little logical problem that we cannot put something in the screen right now. So you can find this recorded on YouTube. If you liked it, please share it on YouTube. You will find it under BCO Live or Blockchains Online Live. And you can still discuss in the Telegram channel with us and with the rest of the audience. And don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter for the ticket raffle. So the next Blockchains Online Live show is with Marc Bevant, researcher and co-creator of the Bitcoin Energy Consumption Index of the University of Cambridge on the green Bitcoin. Very important topic because it's been a negative side, as everybody of us remembers, the very, very downturning comment of Elon Musk about that. So that's all. We had our little revolutionary talk today, so there's nothing left for me to say but to say goodbye and long live the blockchain.